corona. Que disease, when me corona.
The Nigeria Center for Disease and Control on Thursday confirmed 108 new cases of coronavirus, bringing the total case to 981 in Nigeria, with 31 deaths, while 197 has been discharged. Welcome to COVID-19 Situation Room of Television Nigerian. I am Charles Ibe. Now let me give you a breakdown of the cases in Nigeria on a statewide basis and also in Africa and on the global scene. Lagos remains the epicenter for coronavirus with 582 cases, followed by the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, with 133 cases. Kano has 73 cases, Ogun 29, Katsina has 2, Osun 20, Oyo and Edo are tied at 17 cases each. Borno has 12 cases. Kwara and Akwa Ibom are tied at 11 cases each. Kaduna and Gombe each has 9 cases. Bauchi has 8, Delta 6, Ekiti 4, Ondo and Rivers has 3 cases each. Now, Jigawa, Enugu, Niger and Abia has 2 cases each. Benue, Anambra, Sokoto, Adamawa and Plateau can be called the lucky ones with just 1 case each. Now on the African frontier, South Africa leads the pack with 3,953 cases and 75 deaths recorded. Ghana has 1,154 cases with 9 deaths, while Kenya has 320 cases with 14 deaths. Now on the global scene, according to the latest figures published by Johns Hopkins University, 2,699,338 cases has been detected worldwide, with 188,437 deaths, while 737,735 people have recovered around the world. Now, I want to know how those figures hit you. Scary, worrisome, whatever you can call it. Victor Temba is in the room with Daniel Attack.
Thanks for having us.
Yes.
Good afternoon, brother.
Okay, we'll keep reeling out figures like there's money to be shared or palliatives to be shared. But actually, these are people who are down with the pandemic. Lucky enough, we have hundreds of thousands of recoveries around the globe. But sadly, a lot more number of deaths. I think in the United States, about 42,000 or thereabout. And then in South Africa, we are having some cases. And in Nigeria here, 31 cases. So how has humanity held up since coronavirus invention?
I think we have basically held on very fairly enough so far. If we just want to really take into consideration that each country has been trying their best to make sure that they find a solution to the whole this pandemic issue. And then, but again, when you now look at the fact that over 2 million people have been infected and 700 something thousand people have recovered, that is actually a huge lesser percentage anyway, a huge lesser recovery rate when you look at it on the world scale level. And then again, looking at the fact that 160 something thousand people died from it, 160,000 people dying is also a very huge number. That should basically represent about 2% of the entire this issue. But the point, the only fault in getting this start in terms of less than percentage is that you downplay or you let's say euphemize the gravity of the situation. So by the time you look at it that the death rate less than global is about 2% or thereabout, then you look like, oh, maybe it is not fatal. But then when you now look at it in the real figures, 164,000 people dying is a very huge number here.
Daniel, what do you say?
Well, the spread, of course, is fatal across the nations where the pandemic disease seems to be gaining ground, perhaps due to the weather condition, or I don't know. In a part of Africa, I don't think the escalation of death rate is that much, and we wouldn't want it to even go beyond what we have already now. So since the solutions are beginning to come out, we hope that yes, soon enough we shall get the vaccines, not just from a source. Vaccines are coming from everywhere now. Nobody's monopolizing vaccines, and with our own alternative drugs, I think our health institutions are really fighting the pandemic, and that is why the death rate has not escalated beyond the number we have. If you judge the kind of character we have, the clumsy character we have of not maintaining social distancing, by now we should be recording more than even 1,000 deaths, according to the prediction from WHO, from Bill Gates and the wife. But thank God, with the measures so far taken, and with God's help, I think Africa has, I can't say we've had it badly in terms of COVID-19. And if it is technologically something that is causing it, we don't have it here like that yet. So we still thank God. And we hope that we provide solutions rather than recording just number of deaths or number of
just counting figures every day.
The figure of sickness or death is not money, and it's nothing anybody should be happy about. We have research institute, and we have to get to work just the way Oxford University is doing. We have University of Ibadan here. We have Lagos State University Teaching Hospital. We have Jos Teaching Hospital. We have capable research institutions here.
On top of that, we have the National Virology Center.
So yes, we have the Virology Center.
We've not had anything from
we have Oncology Center. We have all of them here. So we believe that if we don't eschew that attitude of complexity, where we feel always inferior, that what we have is not enough to do, we will continue to have problems. But once we deal with that complexity and look inward, if others are boasting of their research technologies and findings, we too, we should be boasting of what we could bring out, because the black men here are still the black men in United States of America. They are still the black men in UK.
Their situations are different.
The situations are different.
You can't bring out nothing.
The test analysis and laboratory analysis are almost the same.
But they don't have the equipment they have.
But we
your centers of research, you are not as equipped as they have there.
Well,
in fact, you still rely on them most often. And in fact, I think most often breakthroughs you have coming from Africa, you still have to go over there to test, to prove, to confirm, and even confirm and approve. So what are we talking about? Homegrown. Even our what would you call it? Herbal solutions.
Alternative solutions.
They are still going to shoot it to pieces, except World Health or whoever.
I say yes. And that is the politics. That means since we've been knitted into the League of Nations, anything that comes from Africa seems to be politicized, even if we have the best solution, because we are not the sponsors, we are not even the providers of the technical know-how, and he who pays the piper dictates the tune. So that is what is going on, and that is not to say we are not doing anything. I praise the African continent. I believe in their capacity. I also hope that they will do better.
But for now, we are expecting the sucker to come from across the seas.
Yeah.
And even you did mention about a vaccine in somewhere UK or something.
Yeah,
But, all of this, and we have our homegrown immune boosters and all of that. But we've not heard anything at all from the World Health Organization in regards to these vaccines, these whatever efforts people are they on point? They just kept quiet and allowing speculations to run riot.
But
now
this vaccine is not speculation.
No, but now you heard Bill Gates or whoever. I think he was more aligned to World Health. I don't know. You have to correct me. But he said this thing is going to take 18 months or thereabout before we can have a vaccine. And now, under how many months? This UK is already testing on human beings.
Yeah, but but you could see vividly what accusation that is going on Bill trying to monopolize the World Health Organization.
Okay, so now is it going to remove more emphasis on World Health Organizations? And people are going to regard them less. Going by the fact that even America has started pulling out from funding them.
Well, America has pulled out temporarily because of the scenario that is being played between Bill Gates and World Health. They even accuse Tedros, the director of World Health, of being an ally to Bill Gates and his former worker in the Microsoft company, the Ethiopian man. And of course, you could see that Bill Gates is not a medical doctor, but his foundation is obsessed with vaccines and
he's a scientist,
solutions. And he is talking about using ID 2020 for COVID-19 and other pandemic. It doesn't go well with the U.S. Congress and the U.S. President. And not only U.S. Congress and U.S. President, the world over, some people are accusing his vaccines in time past, like in India and even in Nigeria here, in Kenya, that it has caused harm, more harm. The polio vaccine that he invented and brought to the world, though he has that kind of a saving grace to giving people solutions in terms of vaccine, but not without adverse reactions and adverse effect. So they are saying that if you are saying you want to give the world solution, you cannot monopolize it. Every nation, every continent have their own institutions of research.
But is it stopping anybody from doing that?
Yes, what he's saying is that the World Health kind of relying on him, particularly to provide the ID 2020 using the Microsoft to control the vaccine. Okay. And that's why they say no. China didn't wait for World Health. China got solution.
What did they have? Does China have?
They adopted Avigan and Favipiravir. We said it here.
Is it what they are using to treat?
If not what they are using, but they came out to announce that this is what they have adopted.
Is it part of what they brought to Nigeria?
It could be. It could be. Have they called the name of what they brought to Nigeria to you? But they have called their National Health Center has declared to the world that this is what they are using, and that they have discharged 91% of their patients infected with COVID-19. And some are saying they are also using their orthodox traditional medicine to cure COVID-19. So every continent or every nation should develop vaccines or a method of curbing this COVID-19, not until we wait for World Health. If you have developed, World Health can approve. World Health can take your sample,
and they can actually reject it, and
they can actually reject it if they don't want.
Because if World Health is aligning to ID 2020, anything contrary to that is meant for the trash.
But that is what the world powers are fighting now.
Okay,
that is the politics there that they are fighting now.
All right, Victor, you wanted to say something?
No, I think he hasn't said everything based on the matter. But then at the same time, like we just concluded now, the world can't stand still and wait for ID 2020.
Yes.
And again, for him to have said that it will take 18 months before we get to find a vaccine, he is a lesson scientist, but he is not a medical scientist.
Yes.
So he cannot really say exactly. And then we now look at the fact that the vaccine so far that they are trying comes from the UK. UK is also that's a major player in the world.
Of course.
You can't want to shut them down because you want to wait for Bill Gates. So maybe perhaps what you just get, it will also be the UK also withdrawing from this and funding the World Organization. And
so
at that time,
can one now
naked.
deduce that perhaps the Bill Gates solution is more technological based on chips and whatever, whereas what UK is trying out now is more perhaps real vaccine like drugs or something to apply.
You see why American government, American institution like the Harvard have not come out to say yes, we have gotten vaccine. It's not as if the solution is not there for them. They could give us solution just the way Oxford is giving us solution. Even University of Ibadan in Nigeria can give us solution. If Professor Iwu could come out to boast that there is solution to COVID-19, what are you talking about? So the politics, that is why I say the bottleneck from Biggate, particularly from Biggate, and for the U.S. President and the U.S. Congress, like the person of Robert F. Kennedy, to have accused Biggate directly and not behind, not speculation, and said, what is your obsession with vaccine and whatever you are trying to control the world to say you are the messianic, messiah for health solution. You are not an institution as a person, and that you are conniving with Tedros Ghebreyesus, the boss, the director of World Health.
U.S. Secretary General.
Yes, the World Health Organization boss.
Yeah,
so for U.S. Trump as a president, and then JF Kennedy, and then many other institutions and personalities to accuse Biggate and Tedros, it goes a long way to tell us that World Health have something to answer for us, for the whole world.
All right. Well, while we keep our fingers crossed and wait for the vaccine, whichever they approve, all we need is a sucker. And then I don't even
nobody will wait for the approval.
I don't actually buy it. Yes, like you mentioned University of Ibadan.
Yes.
Whatever you have, if it's working, please let's start.
That is it.
People
cannot be dying and be waiting for one man to bring vaccine, 18 months to wait. Oxford 3 months, and they tested it on their own citizens, not lesser nation like Biggate is predicting that they want to bring the vaccine to Africa to test on humans. Are we goats?
All right. Now today, the Muslim nation started Ramadan. President Muhammad Buhari has felicitated with them and urged every one of them to actually, despite the fact that we are still in a COVID-19, to maintain all the whatever it is that Ramadan represents for their faith, even though they are not going to be gathering like usual. Just like we had the Christian
Easter.
They celebrated Easter without the normal fanfare, gathering churches and all of that. So now in Nigeria here we know our peculiarities. How do you foresee about this Ramadan under COVID-19?
Well, the lesson Ramadan is supposed to last for 1 month.
Yes.
And we have seen already what might possibly happen. We have seen it already. We have seen a bit of it where in the other parts of the country where they practice, where they observe Ramadan, mostly where people think that they still have the right to go to the mosque, that they shouldn't be stopped from going to the mosque. And then looking at like this is now a month of Ramadan where some special prayers are supposed to be observed, at the mosque and whatever. It will be very difficult getting these people to stay at home and not go to the mosque. And we also look at the fact that in these areas, I don't think they have really gotten the information about the less and severity of this COVID-19, so they will still go ahead. We saw several videos where they come out to protest or went to the mosque, came back, and then we're jubilating that they will always go to the mosque, or protesting that you can't stop us from going to the mosque and all of that. Yeah, so I think this is the time that every cleric, every Islamic cleric will have to explain to the people that, look, this Ramadan is not different from the other ones, but then we have to observe these ones at a distance from each other. Stay in your house and let us observe this. But it doesn't take away the importance of the Ramadan. It doesn't take away that, it doesn't stop the fact that God is not going to answer your prayers or whatever. But then,
someone told me that it's actually it's timely because lockdown and people complaining of hunger. It's when you really have the craving to eat food that you talk about you're hungry. So now the month of Ramadan is supposed to be a month of fasting, isn't it? So nobody will be talking much about food.
Well, people are still eating food, and COVID-19 has made us separated religion from realities. like I said, what the Sultan of Sokoto said, that is what should happen. I think that in the Islamic structure of hierarchy, I don't think anyone is more powerful than the Sultan himself in Nigeria here. So, and the emirs have been directed to, maintain social distancing, and then also keep to hygienic practices.
And stay away from the mosques.
Stay away from the mosques. Don't gather. God is in the heart. You can also perform Hajj at home, just like you can pray at home.
Really?
But it won't be long.
Is it like, did you have to take COVID-19 for us to remember that God is in the heart? Before now, we're hearing people jetting out to Mecca, jetting out to Jerusalem. It has
but that is the hypocrisy.
I don't think it's a hypocrisy.
It's not hypocrisy per se.
We all know that God is in the heart, but at the same time,
we still have to go and do stuff.
Yes, we still have to let them congregate together.
And the Holy Books actually sanctioned it. They're like, okay, where 2 or 3 are gathered in my name.
Yes.
So does it remove that? Okay, where anybody is staying alone, I am not God.
You see, God even said, "I listen to you more in your privacy."
Yes.
It is when a man relates, there is a personal relationship with you and your God than being seen. Like if you look at the prophet Muhammad and even Jesus Christ, who is also a prophet, if you look at their teachings, they criticize this hypocritical behavior outward, so that people will praise you.
Yes.
Who doesn't pray in his room, or who doesn't know God in his room? Who is God? If God even wants to visit you, he's not even in the gathering. You understand? It's not even in the gathering. God speaks to you in your dream. He speaks to you in your house while you are praying. He gets to you to meet your solutions. So I am not saying that gathering is not okay. Just like my friend and my brother here would say that the gathering, do not forsake the gathering of the saint, as in the manner of some, that you must also continue to gather. But where the gathering will not glorify the name of God, or will not make you to be alive to further continue to glorify his name, you eschew that gathering.
Yeah, because of the dangers.
Because even Jesus Christ ran away at one time from the temple.
And they wanted to kill him.
They want to kill him before his time. And he said his time hasn't come.
The
right. Bible says he sneaked and he disappeared. And other books further said that time that he disappeared was about so many years. Before he reappeared again.
Okay, so we are getting big lessons now from engineer. So if coronavirus, if you attend the worship places and you're going to die from coronavirus, please stay home and leave, because we need you alive. Like they say, a living dog is better than a dead lion. All right, let's go to the news text and get some news headlines. Then the situation will return again. Join us. Thanks for joining us again on the COVID-19 Situation Room of Television Nigerian. And if you are just joining in, I don't think you've missed much. We've been talking about the situation of COVID-19 in Nigeria, in Africa, in all over the world. It's a pandemic, and the whole world has been dealing with it in their own way. Countries, leaders giving their own solutions, and people adapting to it in their own way. Now, ECOWAS leaders on Thursday appointed President Muhammadu Buhari to lead the battle against the spread of the coronavirus pandemic in the sub-region at the end of the extraordinary summit of heads of state and government of the Economic Community of West African States. And the regional leaders discussed the challenges posed by COVID-19 and how best to tackle the deadly virus. And at the end of it all, it was decided that there should be a champion who would lead the response of the sub-region, and that champion is President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria. Why are you guys not applauding?
Yeah. Very good. I saw that news. I was so excited.
Yeah,
I mean.
Oh, yeah, excited and happy.
I was excited because, the rumors that we used to have, that is Sudan, is from Sudan, he's Jibril from Sudan, suddenly resurfaced again. Some people are saying his mask that he's wearing, Abakari is dead, and so the president has COVID-19, all manner of text messages, WhatsApp messages from oppositions and diverse views who are not even in tune with what is happening, the development in Nassau Rock and in the countries.
And they've all been categorized rightly as fake news.
As fake news.
We shouldn't bother with them
the
at
fake
all.
news is just extremely too much that I wish that the National Assembly really passed that law. Yes, pass that law. You can't be feeding people with what is not correct. Even on WhatsApp, on Facebook, so the social media should be a heady ground. So this promotion or this position given to the president is a welcome one, and I think that has to do with his sagacity to dealing with the COVID-19 in Nigeria, and then the accurate response, the proactive response that they have established from the onset, and then his willingness to also even do more as regard cushioning the effect of COVID-19, establishing a research institute, and also giving the NCDC every enabling environment and enabling hands to fight COVID-19. If not, by now, some predictions of doom would have been happening in the country.
Can I don't know. Okay,
sorry, I don't want to say. I don't want to ask him something. So you are satisfied with the way the president has handled it. You are satisfied that he has been doing a lot in cushioning the effects of the.
Yeah, apart from palliative, every indices that they have put into this fight against COVID-19 is accurately okay.
And the
result, yeah.
The result, if you see the results, 31 death or 30 death.
So it means
when you compare,
Ghana has 9. Ghana has over 900. Ghana has more incidents than ours.
Over 1,000.
They have less deaths.
Yes.
Yes, they have less death. They have less death because when Ghana locked their shores, we haven't done that. We only stopped 13 nations that time. It was 2 days after that when we started agitating everywhere should be locked down, that the FG pronounced, shut down aviation and whatever, people from coming in. Ghana did that immediately, that no movement from any international movement or whatsoever.
And they were more proactive than when it comes to the initial response.
Yes.
Because there are reports from their airports, from their entry points, they were not taking it lightly at all.
Just like Taiwan and Vietnam, they did respond swiftly. But if you also compare the population gap, you'll discover that we are doing fantastically okay and even better than any African nation.
That's what I mean. I just wanted to confirm from you that the president is doing well, and so therefore, if there shouldn't be a problem if there's a 2-week extension of the lockdown.
I was going to
because he has done well.
Yes, he's going to now champion the
because
of
as an exemplified leader
exactly. So
across the country, across the continent now.
So that was actually a worry. Like, why this thing now? Now that people are actually thinking about, because he's supposed to, we are expected to hear from him maybe Sunday or Monday,
especially the proposals of the governors forum,
and then at least the 2 weeks is going to elapse in 3 days time, and the president is going to say something, lift or don't lift. Now you are making a sentence, putting him on the spot. So the whole of Africa is going to be watching to see what he does. So if he lifts this and say okay, and if you say continue, a lot of people are going to go. I don't know. What do you think?
Okay.
Well, okay. First off, he has been appointed the champion of this COVID-19 response, and this is not the first kind of accolade. You remember that? Yes, champion of the anti-corruption, yes. Whatever. And then I also think that whatever he takes, whatever decision he's going to take when he addresses the nation, either on Sunday or Monday, I don't think he's going to have that much effect on other countries. I don't think those other Africans, African countries,
it might have a bearing on his decision, because he's going to tell like a more hardliner. So I mean, he's tackling this disease, and he's not supposed to be soft on the illness.
But then again, when I look at it, and when you compare other West African countries that are also battling with this COVID-19, there are other countries that seems to look like they are doing better than us. So you talk about even Ghana, you talk about Senegal, you talk about and a few other countries that are within West Africa.
Maybe his the reason he gave population-wise might be something that can actually...
Yeah, so the thing is, less population-wise does not really come into play here.
It comes into play when in terms of pandemic.
No, what matters is the number of cases that we've had.
And what you are doing.
Yes. The number of cases has to be in consonant with percentages of population, in contrast with your
the issue is if you're talking about population, it means that by now we should be having more cases than any other country.
That is why I say, because of the proactiveness,
that so far we have not had more cases.
Yes.
Okay, so then let's not forget that these countries registered cases way before us. And if you try to calculate the time space and then check maybe percentage whatever, you understand that the rate at which we have grown our cases to 800 or something is faster than when these other people had grown their own cases to 1,000 or 900 and something. And they were at a point where they all had this number of cases. They have had like Senegal. Let me just go over Senegal. By the time they have about 343 cases, we also had about 300 and something cases. They registered just to death with over 120 recoveries. At that point, we had already had about 7 deaths, and then deaths and recoveries were just somewhere between 70 and thereabouts. So it means that we didn't doing as much as they had more cases than us. The same thing you look at Ghana. But then this is where the West African leaders, all of these people are not unwise. But for them to look at it, that maybe perhaps Nigeria has been doing something that they have been looking up to, seeing what we have been doing, and then decide to say, okay, the president of Nigeria is going to champion the response to this COVID-19.
Or could it be like just a natural? I mean, we are the giant of Africa. We are the biggest. We are the strongest. We are the richest. Okay, so it's just have to give it to him.
I don't think it's that. I think right now in the African,
because when it comes to talking about resources, or even the manpower, or even the technology or whatever to tackle these things, Nigeria, if they want to apply themselves to it, we have the muscle more than any of those.
Apart from having the muscle, it is one thing to have the muscle, is another thing to be willing to apply the muscle. When you refuse to apply your muscles turn to ordinary fat. That means you are fat, you are not muscular. So if you look at Niger, Senegal, Ivory Coast, Togo, Ghana, Cameroon, compared to, let me say, the West African nations, where cases are is Ghana, Nigeria. I've not had any case from Liberia. I've not had any case from Togo.
They've had cases.
they have cases, but have not
that pronounced.
Not that pronounced. Niger, despite the pandemic, they even queued for election last month, and despite the signal and the warning from what they were mixing no social distance, they not had an explosion. So what I'm trying to see about the position they give to Mr. President, like I said, you must definitely, because this thing move geometrically and exponentially, so you must compare it with population.
So there's no politics at all.
So there's no politics, because even if you think that he is going to act from on Monday, he may extend because they've given him an enormous responsibility. There are countries that have cases and they are lifting their embargo on lockdown. Ghana just said there will be no lockdown for now. And
in some areas.
Yes, there will be no lockdown. That is cushioning the effect of lockdown. And then they are now relaxing it in certain areas, key areas, which is what I expect Nigerian government to do. And you can see that Aputo came out and said they are sufficient in food. And that is what I expect the Minister of Agriculture, Sani Nanano, to do also. Because
I don't think that's a political statement.
It's not a political statement.
Have we heard, is it a record how Ghana is responding to, in terms of providing food?
Of course, I know watching the TV. They are doing it.
Additional food
for that. When they lock down, they make sure all houses get it. They say they have reservoir of food that they have been storing since the past 3 years, and there will be nothing like hunger in Ghana.
But you don't forget that at the first lockdown, the president directed that the grain reserves, some 70,000.
Yeah, the president directed
tons,
to be disbursed.
And I think it has been done.
Yeah, it has been done.
So I don't think, because we didn't beat our chest and say we have more than enough. Is there any record that our reserves are depleted because of that?
From what I see, why the president ordered that one was what the seized from the customs seized.
No, it wasn't. No, that one was different.
The customs one is different. Okay, yes. The national reserve.
Yeah.
Food reserve.
So they
if they have began disbursing food from the national reserve, it means all households should be expected to get food from there.
It's from there that one of your colleagues in United States ran away with that.
Anyway,
Councillor,
your colleague.
Well, that type of councillor could not have been my colleague. My colleague are pioneers of democracy and governance, good governance. That is what I am an advocate of. So,
but then again, when you look, we have not really seen government palliatives in terms of food stuff being distributed to the people. Yeah. What we have mostly seen at a very minimal scale has been the money sharing that was kicked off here in Abuja, in Kwali, taken to Kwara, Lagos, and all that. Beyond that, we haven't seen where government is giving out food. The ones that we are seeing where state governments are giving out or some other people are giving, it's very small. Like when you compare to where other countries are giving, other countries that I've seen so far share food as a palliative to their citizens. It's food that it's much for it to sustain the family. That even if you extend that lockdown, or even if you're going to lock them down for 1 month, it will be enough to serve them for 1 month. I've seen less than citizens get up to like a bag of rice with other stuff.
So that's what it meant to do.
Yeah, these were efforts from the government to the citizens.
Because
so, like,
they
what we
are
see here
relatively small. Don't always forget about the population.
See, the thing is this. I always say this, that we shouldn't always use this less than population as an excuse for our less than deficiency. Now, that country, these other countries, they prepare according to the number of citizens that they have. Okay. So if they are hard, and what that shows is that even at these small figures that they have, it means that if they can reach out and be able to sustain their people, they have shown their less than competence at that level. So it means that as much as they are growing, they will continue on that level.
Trajectory.
So here in Nigeria, we have over 198 million people, and then we are not preparing. We are only preparing for about 20 million people, 30 million people, as if we are in Ghana. That is not the.
I think you are correct.
Yes, and that's not supposed to be the case. So that's how it is. So as a family man, you have